makes my life easier because I'm going to put my thoughts around the framework that he so nicely has put in front of us. The AI, artificial intelligence, which we keep hearing about since the advent of ChatGPT, I think that's what brought it to the public or the consumer domain. But AI has been around since 1950s, and researchers, scientists have been working on automation, how computers can help use compute power and data to make humans smarter and to get to what they call super intelligence, which is the end goal. AI to me is an umbrella, right? There's the digital technology adoption, and then there's the automation. The automation could be robotics on a factory floor industrial environment. It could be generative AI for media companies to, like you said about Bloomberg, writing content, summarizing, synthesizing information. It could be in various, when you're ordering from Zomato, the personalized recommendations you get, or Uber knows what your preferences are. So it's crunching through large amounts of data to understand at a personal level what to offer you as a human in the loop, or bridging the gap between technology and human. So there are tons of positives which AI or this large compute. If you hear about NVIDIA, the chips that they have come out with over the last 10 years, which has made it a multi-trillion-dollar company today, one of the top 5, they are powering a lot of the compute and intelligence, because prior to that, that was not possible. And second is the data, right? The internet gave us a ton of data, human-generated, user-generated content, which these algorithms are able to take and make a lot more sense about multimedia content, right? What is content? It's text on the internet, it's images, it's videos, and it's audio. So if you look at all these different types of content, you start analyzing it in different languages. So before we were amazed by Google Translate. Now with natural language processing and how it's improved, people from, let's say, South India who do not speak Hindi and English are able to learn from best practices, let's say in agriculture, from a farmer in North. That's a big learning process, human knowledge. Think about the knowledge from Africa to India to everywhere being shared, put in a common platform. Not only knowledge in verbal audio, but also images, videos, text, and legacy text also. All the books which we have since the last thousands of years in different dialects and languages. So it has a lot of potential for doing what humans are just not good at, right? If you look at a radiologist or cancer specialist trying to look at images and look at patterns, human eye can miss things, whereas a machine is probably much better than us and should be, because it's a machine. So I think we have to augment, or what they call co-pilot, right? A machine working with the human with the right guardrails. So that way we avoid the dangers and the problems which technology's misuse can bring to front. And I believe, if you look at the two aspects, there's one thought process in the world that we need to stop AI's development because it's too risky. There's the other one which is let it go, let human innovation and entrepreneurship drive it. I think that's the middle ground. We have to put guardrails because just like any technology, whether it was nuclear, atomic, we have to know boundaries because there are bad actors in the system. And bad things can happen knowingly or unknowingly. So when you hear about social media apps in the US, getting banned, or the government wanting to ban something, there are two ideologies. One which says, let there be freedom of speech, choice. The other one which says this is a risk to national security. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle. Because there are biases, there are government propaganda, there is authorities controlling algorithms and content that's getting pushed out to our children. Our 10-year-old, 12-year-old children are being shown certain content in a certain way, a light, that helps them develop biases. So you see a lot of pro-Russia or pro-Ukraine content in different regions of the world on different platforms. And that's not, that's basically human intervention going in. So that is bad. And that needs to be controlled. And if government or actors are influencing the thought process, they are very, very smart because they are controlling the minds and brains of young children, which when they grow up, they've already formed a certain opinion about the community, about their country, the nation, their viewpoint of the world. And then it's very tough to change them. You can then control them at the mind level. And that leads me to the next thing, that as powerful AI and digital is, if we just focus on the economic benefits, there will be tons. I think there will be multi-trillion-dollar companies There'll be bigger gap between entrepreneurs and organizations which really leverage the benefits and monetization from hardware, software, the data world. But then if the authorities, the policymakers, do not work with the private enterprises to figure out how to put these guardrails, we will be in a tough position, because with elections getting tampered with, information becoming disinformation or wrong information, how do you judge what's correct, what's not? And there your biases get, it can cause religious issues, political issues, disharmony in the society. And in a country like India, which has functioned so well, I call India a land with multiple nations in one. And the way the harmony is formed, you don't want that balance to get disbalanced. So I think we as entrepreneurs, as policymakers, as citizens of the country, we should all be very particular about how to use AI and digital to help our nation make progress economically, financially, and become a superpower in those dimensions. But at the same time, we have to figure out how to protect our youth from the bad things that AI can do. And at the same time, that leads to cyber trust, right? The whole risks and factors. The next generation of wars are going to be fought in the digital space. So how do we become really good at leading the agenda to set the policies, the frameworks, the standards at a global level of what is acceptable, what is not? I think India has done a great job at the India tech stack, right? We hear about UPI, Aadhaar, superb work, and that's what has played a big role in getting us in a very good position today economically and respected in the world. It's cutting down some of the corruption, some of the leakages in the system. Similarly, I think India needs to lead the next wave of global adoption and building the framework of what are the AI rules, what is acceptable, what's not, who are the governing bodies. If you're putting out an algorithm or doing something, or building some next ChatGPT, how do we make sure intellectual property, copyrights are protected? How do we make sure you don't want to be someone, you don't want to allow entrepreneurs to go crazy and run without any rules and boundaries. We've seen that what's happened in the crypto world with FTX and other meltdowns. There are several episodes as that. We have seen that recently with the payment banks and the RBI's intervention. So we want to, of course, innovation needs to happen. We don't need to, tie down entrepreneurs. I'm an entrepreneur. At the same time, you need to put the boundaries, because you want to limit the damage or the downside. I think that can only happen if the government, the policymakers, and the private entrepreneurs come together to work on the positives of the AI, the guardrails, and cyber, to make sure our government data systems and even the organizations within are well protected and the downside is limited. So when we do get attacked, either from internal bad actors or external, we know how to respond. And I think there's a big skill gap today, that's a known fact. There are big technology gaps, there's a lot of work to be done there. And I think we all need to roll up our sleeves, accept that fact, that there is work to be done on the digital cyber front. We've had a lot of good wins with UPI, Aadhaar, India tech stack. Let's get that momentum to move forward. Let's get a lot of the best brains in the world. There are a lot of Indians in the US, UK, or other parts of the world. Let's attract them back to work in the government. Help us, just the way Nandan Nilekani led after his Infosys ride, help the government come up with the tech stack. So look forward to everyone thinking about the next future wave, seeing what are the positive, negatives, balancing it out, but let's do what's best in the best interest of our nation. Thank you.